In this video, I will walk you through my journey from being a clinical lab scientist to becoming a hybrid athlete and how that transformation completely reshaped the way I train and perform in the gym. Now, before we talk about that, I first of all want to thank everyone who has subscribed to this channel and everyone who has downloaded the 7 Steps to Healthcare Traveler. About 3 years ago, I made a PDF file and I put it on my video that I talk about how to become a healthcare traveler, and at least 60 people have downloaded it, which is amazing. And still till today, people are downloading that free PDF. So if you have not yet, I will put the link in the description below. It basically gives you all the information on how to become a healthcare traveler. It gives you from steps on understanding how you get paid as a traveler, where to look for traveling, understanding the agencies, the recruiters, how much money you get, how much money does a recruiter get, and where does the money come from. Also, it talks about housing, health insurance, and all that stuff. Once again, thank you for everyone who has been downloading it. And if you have downloaded it but not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to the channel because it's helping me build this information and then just give you guys information. And also this journey that I've been getting into with the hybrid athlete. Now, before we get into that, I just want to say one of the best platforms out there to get your profile out so agencies can recognize who you are is Vivian.com. Now, Vivian.com is probably one of the best places. Last year, like the last quarter of last year, I was in desperate need for a travel contract. And boom, within like 2 weeks of uploading my new resume, of fixing a few things on my profile, an agency hit me up and onboarding process was about 2 weeks. And here I am 7 months later, still with the same hospital working as a traveler. That website basically has a number of agencies that are linked with that same website. Now, getting to the nuts and bolts of hybrid athlete. I forgot. I'm sorry. One more thing. Before we get to that again, I just want to say housing. I know it's difficult. If you've already traveled, if you're new to traveling, housing is probably one of the most difficult things to look for. My top 3. First one, Airbnb. I know it's super expensive, but hear me out. If you go on Airbnb and book for like a month or maybe 3 weeks, get that booking in, immediately tell the host, hey, listen, I'm a healthcare traveler. Is there a possibility of giving me this space for 13 weeks, possible extension? I'm pretty sure they will be happy because they're looking for people to be renting out their room because they want to earn, they want to get some money, right? That's what Airbnb is all about. So if you can talk to the host, tell them, hey, listen, I'm going to be here for 13 weeks straight. Here's my contract. I have proof of that I'm going to be here. And if you can make a deal with them, then you have a place to stay. Second place, Furnish Finders. Furnish Finders is another spot. You can, again, talk to the host. Hey, I'm a healthcare traveler. I'm here for 13 weeks, possibly extending. Here's the proof that I'm going to be working. And you can make a deal with them too. Last but not least, number 3. This one's pretty interesting. I haven't used it, but I know someone who has used it and it's been successful for them. In the current hospital that I'm working at right now, there's a handful of travelers. And one of the travelers found the spot because one of the full-time employees that are there right now has a room for rent or a vacant room. So she was able to get connected with that person, and now she's living in the house. Those are 3 options for housing, and I hope either of those can help you in the future. So getting to the hybrid athlete. Now, I have some notes here, so I'm going to be looking at my notes while I'm talking to you because I had to write this down. Now, hybrid athlete. This has completely changed the game for me. Not only gains, but game when it comes to performing and training in the gym. Now, what is a hybrid athlete? Pretty much a hybrid athlete is a combination of 2 things. You're but you are running and you are resistant training, basically lifting weights. Who is considered a hybrid athlete? Anyone who is probably doing a triathlon, swimming, biking, running. People who are in the CrossFit game. People who are lifting weights and running a little bit. Those are like hybrid athletes kind of thing. Now, I found my hybrid athlete title through Hyrox. And I found Hyrox back in 2023 was because I was on a contract and it was super slow that night. I was working PMs and I was scrolling through and I saw some like random on my real Hyrox workout. And I was like, what the hell is Hyrox? So I went to Google Hyrox, and I found out that it's a fitness race. It's pretty much for runners, but you also got to be fit. Before getting into Hyrox, I was just going to the gym, lifting weights, checking off my list, calling it a day, going home and doing my stuff. I found a gym that was affiliated with Hyrox. And you can look for affiliations on the Hyrox website. And so I started seeing changes, not the first month, not the second month, not the fourth, but maybe the fifth month. I signed up for Hyrox in September of 2023, and my race was in December. So I had September, October, November, December, 4 months. Okay, 4 months to train for this bad boy. No running, maybe here and there once a month, maybe 2 miles, 1 mile here and there, once, 2 months, twice a month. But this was more like twice every week, okay, incorporating running. Basically, Hyrox is composed of 8 different stations. And within each station, you have to run 1 kilometer. So that's why you have to not only work out and get strong, but also understand the running component of it. In total, you run 8 kilometers. And within each kilometer, you have a functional exercise. It starts off with 1 kilometer run. And after that first kilometer run, you get into what is called the ski erg. Now, the ski erg is this one thing that you like pull down, and you got to do that for like 1,000 meters. It's a whole biomechanics behind how to do this, but I won't get into that. I'll do a whole different video on that. But basically, pull down this rope for like 1,000 meters. You run one more time, and then the next station, you push a sled that weighs a certain amount, right? So pushing the sled is gonna burn your legs. It's like a leg workout. And then you run another kilometer, you go to the next station, it's pulling a sled that weighs a certain amount. You run another kilometer, and then you burpee broad jump. Then you run another kilometer, you got to do some rows. You got to run another kilometer, then you do some sandbag lunges. And then you got to run another kilometer, grab some kettlebells and run around with them. And then you run another kilometer, and then I guess you finish with wall balls. There's 8 stations. If I missed one, I'm sorry. There's 8 stations, and the last one is wall balls. Now, as an athlete or as a person who's involved with Hyrox, you have to be well-rounded. Well-rounded in the fact where you got to be strong with your legs, be strong with your upper body, and be strong with your running game. And that's where the hybrid athlete comes from. And this completely changed and reshaped the way I train and perform in the gym. I've noticed so many changes in my body, my physique, and now instead of being like, oh, I gotta hit the gym today, it's like I know exactly what I'm gonna do in the gym today. I know exactly what I'm gonna hit. I know my schedule, and I know why I'm going to the gym. And this is why I fell in love with this hybrid athlete concept, because it's like nonstop. It's like I know what I'm gonna go and attack instead of checking it off the list. And this is such an amazing experience. Like I tell everyone about this stuff. And after that, I've done 4 different Hyrox. I've gotten into marathons. I've ran 2 full marathons and 1 half marathon. I'm actually about 9 days away from my next half marathon here in San Francisco. And I'm kind of aiming for a time, but I'm really not at the same time because I haven't been training the way I want to lately. But I am aiming for a 1:30. The first half marathon I did was last year, so I can't gauge my fitness right now from that till today. The first marathon was an hour and 36 minutes. So I'm trying to shave off 6 minutes. But that's where I'm at. And I love this life. This hybrid athlete life is amazing. And I've gotten so into it where I've actually started to use my profession, which is a clinical lab scientist. I started to think to myself, how can I be the best? How can I perform at my best, ultimate best, is by figuring out how to test for specific biomarkers, how to make sure that I'm in range in those levels of those biomarkers, and then use what I've been learning from becoming a hybrid athlete and increasing my mitochondrial function. I got really into it to the point where not only am I using these biomarkers and testing my vitamin D, vitamin B12, my triglycerides, HDL, LDL. So it's come to a point where I've also dug into the zone 2 and the VO2 max. To understand what zone 2 is, you have to understand that there's 5 different zones. It starts at the bottom, right? Zone 1, then zone 2, then zone 3, then zone 4 and 5. And these different zones are basically dependent on your heart rate. Now, even though this number isn't the most accurate number, you can have a pretty good precise number of your heart rate by taking 220 and subtracting that by your age. And once you get that number, you can figure out what your zone 2 is. Now your zone 2 should be roughly 70% of your maximum heart rate. 220 subtracted by your age, that should be your maximum heart rate. And then take that maximum heart rate, 70% of that maximum heart rate is your zone 2. Now, why is zone 2 so crucial and important as a hybrid athlete, or as someone who's, just wants to work out for the rest of your life and thinking about longevity, thinking about health, lifestyle, and just, being fit throughout your entire life? The reason why zone 2 is important is because you have to understand that zone 2, and there's a lot of research behind this, you're using glucose and fat as energy. When the energy is used, it enters through the mitochondria, breaking it down to pyruvate. And it goes into detail, which I probably won't get into. And if you want, I can make a part 2 about this, understanding zone 2 and VO2 max. But you're utilizing carbs and fat as fuel. And the more you're in this zone 2, the more mitochondria you make overall. I'm just like, this is basically the summary of how that works. Zone 2, the more zone 2 you're in, the more mitochondria you make, because you're in aerobic exercise. And from the aerobic exercise, your cells are utilizing oxygen and the carbs and the fats, which then makes more cells, more mitochondria, and the list goes on. Now, VO2 max is also important too to understand. VO2 max, if you don't understand, is basically the maximum of oxygen capacity that your lungs can take while you are in zone 5. So the way you test this is by using a mask, and you get on this treadmill, and this mask is basically measuring the oxygen and the lactate that you produce. And it gives you a threshold. It tells you your zone 2, and is an amazing test. You want to think about the zone 2 and the VO2 max like a triangle. The bottom side is your zone 2. Think about the peak is your VO2 max. So you want to make sure that your base, zone 2, maximized, and your VO2 max isn't too high or too low, right? It's kind of an equilibrium triangle like that. The reason why you want that is because when you train as a hybrid athlete and you want to understand how to do resistance training and running and perform better, when you work out, you want to make sure you implement zone 2 training at least 3 to 4 times a week. And once a week, you do VO2 max training. How does that look like? Basically, zone 2 training is you can get on the bike, you can go for a run, you can have a conversation with your buddy. You're not gasping for air, or you're not walking, but you're running at a pace where you can talk, but you're also at that 70% of your heart rate, right, from your maximum, 4 times a week. And 1 time a week, you got to do a VO2 max training. How does that look like? Basically, you get on the treadmill and you run as fast as you can for 4 minutes, and you rest for 4 minutes. We can get into detail with another video on how all that works. That being said, I just wanted to share with you guys how that has transformed and reshaped the way I train and perform in the gym, and it has been an amazing experience. And if you guys want to follow along this journey, go ahead and subscribe, like this video, share it with someone who can benefit from it. If you have any questions about traveling, let me know.